Hello and welcome to the CXO Talk show. I'm Kalpana Singhal, founder and chief editor, CXO TV and Tech Plus Media Group. So our today's topic is agility at scale, transforming large enterprises for the digital age. As we all know, in today's fast-paced digital landscape, large enterprises must embrace agility to stay competitive and responsive. This chat will unveil the strategies and insights necessary for transforming large organizations into agile powerhouses. The discussion will explore the keys to navigate in the complexities of digital transformation, fostering a culture of adaptability, and ensuring that your enterprise thrives into the digital age. To take a deep dive into the topic, joining us today, Mr. Sunil Mundra on CXO Talk show. He is the Organization Change and Transformation Leader and a CXO advisor from Thoughtworks. A very warm welcome to you, Mr. Mundra.
Thank you very much, Kalpana. It's a pleasure to be having this conversation with you. Appreciate this opportunity.
Same here, sir. So, in context to our topic of agility at scale, can you provide an overview of the key challenges that large enterprises typically face when attempting to adopt agile practices at scale?
Okay, so I've got two words in your question, agile and agility, right? Let me first call out that they are not the same. In my book, Enterprise Agility, Being Agile in a Changing World, which got published 5 years ago, I have devoted one full chapter to calling out the difference between agile and agility. And that is an important distinction to understand. So without getting into too much details, since this is a short conversation, agile is largely rooted in practices and processes related to software development. Yeah. And that's where the origin of agile came in, right? Yeah. But you don't do agile for the sake of doing agile, right? There are reasons why you are adopting the agile ways of working so that you can actually deliver software faster, more efficiently, and with greater quality and with value to the customer, right? But that's just one part of it. If you look at agility, I define agility as a set of capabilities which an enterprise needs to have. And there are three core capabilities in my view which underlie agility. And those three core capabilities are the ability to sense, the ability to adapt, and the ability to respond. Now, every organization has these capabilities just the way every human being who is alive and working will have some level of health. We may not be as perfect as an Olympic level athlete fitness, but we are healthy enough to work, to live. And the same is the case with organizations. So now talking about the connection between agile and agility. Agile is a huge enabler to achieve agility, but it is a necessary condition, but not a sufficient. There is a lot more that needs to happen for the capabilities of agilities to be enhanced. So when we talk of scaling, you can scale agile practices, right? But you have agility, and I don't talk about scaling those, I talk about enhancing those capabilities. Just the way you don't talk about scaling your own health, you talk about improving it. So agility is like that. So I think the question we need to ask is, what is it about scaling that is so attractive to leaders? Why are leaders in a hurry to scale something? And my approach coming to adoption of agile ways of working is to try something within a given part of the IT organization. Don't just limit it to IT. Look at the whole value stream and see where you can adopt agile ways of working. And then learn from that. And then from those learnings, begin to scale to the other parts of the organization. Now, I also said initially that agile practices originated for software development. But if you look at the first principles of agility, they are very few, but they are very, very critical for enabling agility. And these principles are fast feedback, right? This is about transparency, visibility, collaboration, focus on customer value, and alignment on outcomes. And maybe there's a few more, but I'm just calling out the top 5 or 6.
Right. So I think you have given very well articulated, giving the example of your own health, and so what we can understand is you said that agile is more from the development perspective. So when it comes to the IT decision makers, the CIO community, what exactly, according to you, is the definition for them when it comes to agile, being agile?
So it is again about delivering the solution which meets the customer needs, right? I mean, today technology is at the backbone of every company's strategy. And the point is organizations are now leveraging technology to create competitive advantage. So for the IT function, they must focus on delivering value to the customer. They must focus on understanding business priorities. They need to focus on embracing change, which is one of the core principles of agile, right? Yes, the change may have a cost, but if you make the cost transparent to the business who's bringing in that change, and if they are okay with that cost, then the IT department needs to be able to embrace that change and keep the cost of change as low as possible. So this is about being responsive to change. This is about speed, but speed in the right direction. You don't want to deliver something in the wrong direction. It doesn't work. This is about delivering in small chunks and not as a big bang, so that you can get feedback from the customer and be able to incorporate that feedback going forward. So for IT department, yes, if I were to abstract all of this, it is really partnering with the business to deliver value to the customer in a very efficient and an effective way.
Sure. So that brings to me the, a curiosity that arises is that in large enterprises, various departments have a different level of agility. So how can leaders ensure a synchronized approach to agility across the organization?
You're right about the varying levels of agility. And as the saying goes, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And that applies to organizations as well. So the way you want to look at this is, what is stopping leaders to align different functions on common outcomes? The pattern that we see is that different departments have different priorities and different success criteria, right? And that's where, when that misalignment happens, when that friction happens, is when agility gets impacted. So it requires a mind shift change towards having a skin in the game for outcomes. Even for departments like compliance and risk and legal and security. Now, these are non-negotiable. You've got to adhere to these things. But these people can't just have a veto vote and stall everything just to meet their needs. While their needs are to be met, I mean, there is nothing that we should bypass in terms of legal and compliance, right? You've got to adhere to those things. Those functions should also have a skin in the game and be held accountable for their decisions if they have to stop something. So you need accountability. And you need a skin in the game with the outcome. So they should also have some skin in the game for achieving the overall business outcome. And not just limited to saying, oh, I have satisfied the auditor's requirement, so I'm good. Whatever happens to the business is not my problem. That attitude is not going to help you enhance it.
So I know this is not about individual. Yeah.
Yes, everybody has to row in the same direction. It's like rowing a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to row together and you got to row in the same direction.
Yeah. So that's the organizational culture, which play a major role in the agility.
It does. Culture plays a role, but I would say how people are organized, how priorities are aligned to outcomes, and how success is measured for different departments of the organization. If there is clarity around that, then people's behavior is driven by what you measure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Measures drives behavior, and behavior drives culture, and culture and behavior is a reinforcing loop. So the intervention that you can make in order to change your culture is start influencing behaviors, and you can start influencing behaviors by few things. One is make sure that friction when people interact is reduced. Second is have alignment on priorities and outcomes. Third is have common success criteria. And fourth is role modeling by leaders.
Yeah, so when we say friction, I think friction itself is a vast topic. We can have a dedicated session on friction. I think that's the major thing, which is the major obstacle when it comes to building that culture, or we will say change management.
Yeah.
Like you were telling us that how enterprises can cultivate a culture of adaptability. If you can also share some success story or case studies of companies that have effectively, because you're there at Thoughtworks. I'm sorry, I missed in your introduction. I'm extremely sorry that I didn't mention that you're a CXO advisor at Thoughtworks. So if you can also share some success stories or case studies of organizations that have effectively scaled agility to transform their operations and drive innovation.
So again, agility, there is no like one checklist to say, yes, I have achieved agility. Again, I go back to the human health. Can you say, yes, I have achieved perfect health? Yeah. You can only do better from where you are right now and up to a certain point. I mean, a perfect health, maybe as I keep giving an example of an Olympic level champion athlete, right? Who's in perfect fitness. We may never get that. Or at least I won't. But can I not do something starting from today to improve at least something on my health? And that's the way you need to look at organizations is, have they improved on their business outcomes? Have they improved on their customer satisfaction? Right? Have they improved on their employee engagement and employee satisfaction? And as long as that improvement is there, which means that they are enhancing their capabilities which underlie agility, and actually they are moving towards agility. Right? Now, if you talk of successful case studies, Microsoft is a very publicly known case study in terms of how Satya Nadella came in and changed the culture of the organization, which is a very large organization by itself. And there is enough material on the internet available to give pointers towards how they adopted agile ways of working and work towards enhancing agility. The other example is ING Bank, and that's a very well-known old case study, but they went through a significant transformation as well to enhance agility. And you will find a lot of companies who have embraced agility in that sense. It's never going to be perfect, right? But as long as they are able to make their customers happy, they are able to deliver value to shareholders, their employees are generally happy, and they're generating the required outcomes for the business. Then when you're moving the needles on these, you can say that, yes, they are moving towards greater agility, but it is never an end state. It's an aspirational goal, right? For us, if I were to talk of Southeast Asia, because I'm currently based in Singapore since the last about almost 5 years now, we have successful case studies of a major, very traditional insurance company in Australia, which we were able to transform and improve agility. And actually, we have a case study on our website about this company. This company is called IAG, right? And you can listen to the CEO's video where he talks about the difference that adopting agile ways of working has made. We also have a success story with a telecom giant in Indonesia. We also have a success story with a bank in Thailand. So across industries, there are success stories of organizations, how they have embraced agile ways of working, how they have scaled it just beyond the technology function, and they have improved their agility.
Oh, has there been any common factor in, though they belong to different sectors?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think, again, a few common factors. One is leadership alignment on why we are doing this and what we want to achieve. And the commitment from leaders to go through this process of change, which can be disruptive, which can be uncomfortable. Yeah. And willingness to go through this together and support each other.
That risk-taking appetite.
It's not about so much of risk. It's about embracing change. Yes, risk. There is always a risk when you change something, right? But the point is, what other choice do you have? If you don't change, is that an option? because the world is changing very fast and that is not in your control. So do you want to be reactive to change always? Or do you want to make sure that you're keeping up with the pace of change and you are building capabilities to avoid any negative things that can come in your way of disrupting your own organization?
Like COVID-19. I'm sorry.
Yes,
Interrupted.
it did. And it shook up so many organizations and they were forced to adapt because there was no choice if they did not. It completely highlighted the importance of an organization's ability to pivot quickly and change quickly. Right? So
it's all about resilience and sustainability, how you can make your business sustainable. So changes.
Exactly. How you can make your organization nimble enough to be able to sense something quickly, adapt itself, and then respond as well. That's why I bring out those three capabilities, which you have those capabilities, but you need to work on improving them as best as you can.
Yeah. So that brings to me to the next question, which is all about the failure of digital transformation, the projects that usually enterprises do. We have seen like 70% of the digital transformation projects are not successful.
Yeah.
So and when I said that the common factor could be probably the risk-taking appetite, is my perspective is that a lot of cost is involved when we get into these kind of IT implementations, especially for the large enterprises which are quite bulky, in nature to carry such projects. So what probably are the reasons, the factors for 70% of the digital transformation projects getting failed? And according to you, what could be the challenges basically they face, and what could be the solutions?
Great question, Kalpana. I think you touched on a topic which is critical, because that 70% is not a trivial number. People invest so much time, energy, effort, money in transformation initiatives, right? And if they are not delivering the results, then it is something which is impacting every stakeholder in the organization. So from my experience, some of the things which we have come across, or I have come across, is, I think one is technology, the underlying technology which is there. People are still living with a lot of old legacy systems. Okay. And those legacy systems don't integrate well with the current new digital channels and the newer technologies. So you have your legacy systems, which are essentially called systems of record. They do a very good job in terms of automated processing and maintaining records, and they're very reliable, they're very accurate. But they are not very amenable to change. Most of them are black boxes. The code was written 20 years ago. Nobody knows what's inside. People are scared to touch. Even the skill set to deal with those systems is now getting rare and rare. And now we have these newer digital channels come. So bolting those digital channels on obsolete underlying systems is one of the biggest reasons why transformations are not successful. But that's just not the technologies. The larger side is the culture. Are you truly focused on your customer needs, right? Or are you doing a transformation based on your constraints, saying that we have these capabilities, we have these skills, we will deliver what best we can based on these customers? Your operating model is not customer-centric. It is your constraint-centric. You need to go a customer-centric operating model and work backwards from there, right? The third is not adopting agile ways of working fully. So you can today, with a lot of automation and tools that are available, you can deliver high quality products with speed. There is no trade-off. But you have to follow the right kind of engineering practices to be able to do that.
Does that mean that every organization, every business has to be digital in nature?
It depends on the nature of your business, right? For example, if it's a physical products company, the extent of digitalization may be less as compared to somebody who's offering services.
Yeah.
Right? But today, the customer expects to be engaging digitally with the organization today, regardless of the type of company. So you don't have an option but to have some of your business processes digitally enabled. But you can't be having a culture which is based on a manufacturing type of a mindset. We are dealing with knowledge work here. We are dealing with knowledge workers. right? So the mindset to embrace change, the mindset to try new things, as you said, the risk appetite. Risk is generally considered just a bad word, but no, unless you try new things, which involves experimentation, and experimentation by definition involves risk, right? How can you transform? So yeah, these are some of the reasons digital transformations fail. I think some of the reasons or what some of the ways to make it successful is, one is this mindset to be customer focused, to be aligned to outcomes, to not cause friction, between different departments, and if it's there, then remove them. To have an operating model which is customer focused, to upgrade your legacy, right, and to create a middle layer called systems of differentiation, which is more amenable to changing environment, and your business logic can keep changing very fast, and that layer is easily integratable with your digital channels. So investing in technology and moving away from the legacy systems for your intelligent decision making and for your business processes, that is.
That last point, would also like to highlight here that it's not easy for mid-sized organizations to move away from the legacy infrastructure and the implementations they've already done. So what exactly, what best practices you would suggest them that, okay, as they don't have very big budgets when it comes to digital transformation, what would be the best practices for them?
I would say isolate your key processes and separate those. Don't do a big bang change to your legacy. We never advise that. It's very risky, right? You cannot disrupt your business while you are, upgrading your technology or changing your technology architecture. Your business has to go on. Yeah. And there are ways in which the word we use is you slowly strangulate your legacy systems without disrupting the business and take out the logic slowly, right? And then you do it gradually, and maybe if you can't do the whole thing, at least take out your core business processes and move towards the direction of becoming more digital oriented or more digital friendly in terms of the technology.
Right. So that's quite a generic kind of reply. I'm sorry. So would you like to share some specific tools or technologies or practices that you believe can help in such cases?
Well, one of the things we got, and I'm not a technologist, by the way. I have never entered a single line of code in my life. So let me make that confession. Although I do understand how systems work, but I'm not a technology expert. Okay? But what I can say is the tool that is being used is called microservices.
Okay.
Right. To create that layer of differentiation.
Yeah. Sure. So last but not the least, Sunil, if you can share your advice, you would like to give to the CIOs and technology leaders beginning to transform their enterprises into digital transformation, and of course, getting into making it as an agile organization in this digital age. So it's wrapping it up. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I would like to take the liberty of giving advice to two sets of stakeholders, Kalpana, I find.
Yeah.
First is the advice to the CEOs and the boards of directors. Okay. Please elevate the technology function to a strategic level. Do not treat it as a support function, right? Do not treat it as a pure cost center. You are constraining the potential which is there, which technology can actually deliver. Okay. And second, be technologically aware. Yes, you may not be a technology expert, but as board members and as heads of organizations, you need to be aware the potential of what technology can do to your strategy, to your business, to your competitive advantage. I'm very disappointed that how many boards of directors have technology representation? Very, very few. Right. To the CIOs, I would say that they need to step up from their mindset to being a supportive function, to being an order taker from the business, to being a thought partner with the business. Right? So don't just focus on optimizing your IT function. Focus on aligning with the business to see how you can partner to deliver business outcomes better, faster, cheaper, with greater value. Right? And the practical suggestion which I'd like to give CIOs is to separate their IT function into two parts. One is the run part of it. So you need to keep the lights on. You have some systems which need to be maintained, and you have to run the business. So they can be part of the run. But when you're creating new solutions, you need to create something a little bit different, right? And that part can be called the build part. So divide your IT function into a build and run. And run those two things a little bit differently in terms of how you fund them, right? You can't be just focusing on optimizing cost and, adhering to the budget and trying to just see how you can lower the cost. Because that, if it is coming in the way of delivering value, right, then you are actually doing disservice to the whole organization by limiting the potential of what technology can deliver. So yeah, I would like to leave, the CIOs with just these two pieces of guidance.
So that's the important two pieces that you have shared. But what I'd like to put my perspective also, that they are accountable to the CFOs and the CEOs also.
That is why I address that larger group first.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That mindset towards IT has to change. IT needs to get an equal seat at the table, which often it does not.
Yeah.
And you pointed out exactly that the CIO is expected to report to the CFO or the COO or the CEO. To me, the IT function is got to be right there with the business. And of course, the IT function, IT head also has to step up to be able to thought partner and focus on business outcomes as well. So yes, you should get a seat at the table, but you need to justify you being there, at that table too.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for such an insightful session. And I'm sure our CXO TV audience is definitely going to find it well useful.
Thank you very much, Kalpana. I really enjoyed our conversation. And yes, I do hope that the audience will derive some key takeaways, which they can put into action, based on our conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.